Good morning, church. Brother Matt here again. This morning I'm down in my office. I had to come down here to take care of a few items, and while I was sitting in my office, the first bands of this storm that is heading our way arrived, and it rained pretty hard for a few minutes, but that has subsided. Although we are still under a tornado watch until 3 p.m. this afternoon, so I would just encourage you to be safe today and stay close by to your weather radio or your smartphone or your TV so that you will be made aware of any impending danger. But it reminded me of a passage that's found in multiple gospel accounts. It's where Jesus calms the storm. And the account that we're going to look at this morning is from Mark chapter 5, beginning in verse 35. And this is what it says. That day, when evening came, he said to his disciples, "Let us go over to the other side." Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along just as he was in the boat. There were also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." In 2006, I went with Bishop Larry Goodpastor and the other elders, newly ordained elders and their spouses, and Tammy and I had a great time over there. I've shared a little bit about that. The other day I shared about going down into Lazarus' tomb. But on another occasion, while we were in the Holy Land, we went out on the Sea of Galilee. We chartered a boat, and the whole bunch of us got on this boat and went out into the Sea of Galilee. And that morning, the wind was blowing pretty strong, and the waves were pretty high. And so it was a little choppy out there on the Sea of Galilee. And when we got out to a certain spot, Bishop Goodpastor got up, and he was going to share from this passage. He was going to share a devotional with us. And when he stood up, the wind died down, and the Sea of Galilee became calm. And I think even Bishop Larry Goodpastor was surprised by the stillness of that moment. And then he continued to share a devotion with us that day. In the midst of the storm, Jesus is with us, and we don't need to be afraid. It's interesting that, the disciples' faith calls them to turn to Jesus when this storm got really serious, when it began to swamp the boat. They wake Jesus up. He had been asleep in the back of the boat on a cushion. But then Jesus chastises them for their lack of faith. And why does he do that? A good friend of mine, Ron Ball, Reverend Ron Ball, a pastor in our conference, was speaking at Heritage United Methodist Church one Sunday while I was the pastor there. And he used this text for his sermon that day. And one of the things that he said that's always stuck in my mind was Jesus was upset with their lack of faith because he had told them that we're not going under, we're going over. He had told them that they were going to go over to the other side. He said, "Let us go over to the other side." And when Jesus tells us something is going to happen, or if he tells us we're going to do something, we need to trust him. We need to believe with all of our heart, mind, soul, and strength that it's going to come to pass. For instance, I will come again. That's a great reminder for us as we journey toward Easter, as we continue to prepare our hearts and minds for that Easter celebration when Christ rose from the dead and went back to be with the Father. But before he left, he said, I will come again. And we can believe that today because he is trustworthy. He is a man, a God of his word. And it's interesting that in our text this morning that the disciples were terrified even after he calmed the storm. And they asked themselves, who is this? Now, they've been with Jesus for a number of years, and yet they still didn't know who Jesus truly was. He said, the disciples said, even the wind and the waves obey him. God is in control. He is sovereign over our world. We don't need to fear during the storm. Do we need to be wise? Absolutely. Do we need to be prepared? You better believe it. But we can trust God that he's going to be with us during the storm. And here's another truth. Storms don't last always. I pray today that you'll be safe, that you will continue to be healthy, and that you will continue to stay in Christ's arms. I love you. I miss you. I pray God will bless you richly today. Y'all have a great day. See you later. Bye.